Hello, everyone, and welcome to Really Old Movies. I'm your host, Harrison Scullin, and today I got a very special show for you. Me and my buddy Nate, we're going to be talking about the Frank Capra collection and the first five films in that. And so with that, let's get the theme song going. All right, how's it going, Nate?
I'm doing good. You got different theme music than last time I was here.
Yes. Change it to Tchaikovsky.
Yes, beautiful. Yeah, I'm doing well. Looking forward to talking about these movies with you. It was a fun experience watching them. So I'm interested to discuss them and rank them. Yeah, I love a good ranking. So I'm looking forward to it.
Heck yeah. And in the future, we'll also have hopefully our buddy Evan on as well, since he also got this collection. Yeah. And basically the rundown is once a month, we're going to break down 5 films from this collection, as there's 20 of them. Be kind of crazy doing them all at once.
Yes.
And then just giving our thoughts overall, which one was the worst all the way to the best within that set. And then the very, very last stream, we'll talk about our favorite overall. And so with that, before we get started, what are your initial impressions and whatnot of this Frank Capra collection?
Well, first of all, I just want to say, just as far as the box itself, like everything about it, first of all, I think it looks gorgeous. I love like the design of it. It's really cool. I love the way like the little flaps open and fold back, and like they put a lot of effort. Sony put a lot of effort into it.
It really did.
Yeah, and I think it's great. The funny thing is, like on Instagram and stuff, like I have seen nobody post about it. No, none.
Yeah.
And mostly I follow all like movie collectors, and I know you got it. I know Evan got it. I know I got it. And that's it. Like I haven't seen anyone buying it. I'm sure maybe other people have it, but I have heard no discussion of it, no post about it, nothing about the movies. As far as me personally, I had only ever seen 2 of these movies.
Mm-hmm.
No. I've only ever seen one of these movies before buying this.
Oh, wow.
Set. Yeah. And that's Mr. Smith Goes to Washington. That's the only one that I have seen prior to getting this. So 19 of these will be first time watches for me. So that's why when you brought it up, I was like, I want to do it. So I think it's a great set. Yeah. And I'm looking forward to like diving into these movies.
Heck yeah. Well, I'm not too different from you. I've only seen 2.
You got me by one.
Mr. Smith Goes to Washington, and It Happened One Night, but that was it. I hadn't seen any of the others.
I have that in the Columbia Classic set, but I haven't watched it yet.
Oh, okay. Well, you're going to now.
This will be it.
Yeah. But no, you're absolutely right. Like the few people I have seen, they just talk about the box. They don't talk about the movies at all. And that kind of irked me a bit. I was like, the whole purpose of this is the movies on it. It's not the box. It's not it's cool, but the whole point is Frank Capra's work. It's a celebration of what he did for Columbia.
Mm-hmm. I agree. And this happens with so many box sets. Is people get hung up on how cool the box is.
Yeah.
Same thing with the Columbia Classics. There have been 5.
Yeah, they're on the 5th one now.
And I never see anyone reviewing the movies, talking about the movies. Obviously, some of them are very famous. Well, some of them are super famous. And some are modern, like Social Network and Taxi Driver. But even still, like I've seen people maybe say, oh, I watched the Taxi Driver 4K. Looks great. But they don't really dive into any of the other films in the set. So I think, it's just the nature of box sets where, especially Sony nails these things on anything Columbia. And maybe people are just like, I need the box. But like, I agree with you. I'm more into reviews. I love when people actually talk about movies, review movies. That's what I like to watch on YouTube. That's what I like to listen to in podcast, and even that's
Same,
like what I like to read on when people put little reviews on IG. I read them. So I think it's maybe it's just that is the box. I need the box, but it's like, well, what's in the box? What are those movies?
What's in the box?
Oh, Brad Pitt. What's in the box?
Exactly.
Yeah.
In fact, I don't even know if that many people know what it looks like, honestly.
I agree.
So,
I don't think so.
So tell you what, I'll just bring mine up right
go.
here. So that's the front of it there. That's one of the sides. Got Frank Capra there.
Yep.
And this is all the movies in it.
Look at that.
You know?
And the doors on the front, they slide back.
Yeah.
So you have them slid back, but they slide out and then they close. And they're magnets. It's great. It sits at kind of a slanted angle, which I like. I think it's very cool.
Yeah.
It is hard to get the movies out if they're all in there. But
yeah, I've noticed that.
It's easy to take them out. You just have to slide them. That's all.
Yeah. But it's just crazy to me. It's like, what is the whole point of this if no one's going to talk about the movies, right?
Exactly. I agree.
Oh, we got some chats here. Got Robert Makes the Cut.
Hey,
What's up, Rob?
What's going on, brother?
How's it going? And of course, we got yourself greeting everybody.
I was welcoming them here.
Yeah, thanks for coming by, Rob. But yeah, like, I was so excited when I heard about this collection because so many of them I'd never seen but have wanted to. And I want to say most of the ones on this haven't even had a DVD release. So, like, this is a big deal movie collection wise, too.
Now, I will say there was I don't know if you do you buy the Columbia Classics boxes?
I've just gotten a couple of the digital ones from people. I haven't bought those boxes.
Okay, so the fifth one, the one that came out most recently, has a bonus disc. And I want to say one or two of these movies are on that bonus. It's a Blu-ray disc. So it's probably, okay. I'm going to guess it's one of the ones we watched. Probably. I haven't watched it. Yeah, I haven't even dove into that set. But I know there's some crossover because it happens when Night is in one of them. And then that. But maybe only 2 or 3 movies crossover. So it's not that bad.
Yeah. No, for sure. Because I know a lot of the times when they do these box sets, they're just releasing the same discs over and over. But in this case, probably only 2 or 3. Everything else, brand new restoration and all of that, either awesome. Blu-ray or 4K. So it's pretty awesome.
Yeah, and Sony does a great job with their restorations too. Like the 2 4Ks we watched, there's parts that look like, and it has to do with the way it was filmed.
Yeah.
Like the submarine one, some of the outside stuff like in the water, it's a very grainy. It looks like news footage almost.
Yeah. The stock footage they had.
Yeah, but the scenes with actors, they looked great. I mean, these movies are almost 100 years old. These came out in the 1920s. Though. For 100, they look fantastic.
They look spectacular. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I'm surprised they had negatives that still looks that good.
I agree. There's one scene in one of the movies where they're showing a guy's face. It might have been the submarine, and you could see his pores and everything. I'm like, this looks like, I won't say new, but it looks clean, very clean, and it looked great.
No, they definitely put a lot of effort into it. They didn't use any cheap AI or anything like that. They put effort into this.
Yeah, I agree.
Got Joker here.
Hey, Scotty boy.
I like your profile picture there. It's pretty awesome.
Yeah, just a guy in the Old West shooting a big gun.
And Rob says there's a volume 5. There is.
Yes. Yep.
I think they just announced the volume 6 already, right?
Oh, I don't know, but I'm getting it. I have all 5. So, funny, I keep buying them. I still haven't watched all of them. I've watched 1 or 2 here or there, but I'm planning to do something like what you're doing with this, but not as a live, just sort of as a thing, just reviewing the set one by one.
Yeah.
So maybe later, like on Instagram or something. We'll see. But
that'd be cool. Maybe link it to a letterbox or something.
Yeah, exactly. So nothing as beautiful as this, but something simple on Instagram. I'll just go through the movies.
Yeah. Oh, that'd be awesome.
Yeah.
All right. Well, you ready to get into the ranking?
I'm ready. I think we're not going to have similar rankings. If I know anything about you, and I do know about me, I'm sure we will both like some of the same ones, but I bet I will put money that our rankings won't be the same. I'm pretty sure.
I think so too, because these movies, at least for me, super random, never heard of. So there's no like, oh, this is one of the greatest movies ever. Like, no, This is total random selection.
All brand new to both of us, so it's going to be fun.
Yep. All right. Well, we'll start with you. What is your number 5, the worst one?
Okay. Now, my number 5, and I'm going to lead with what I gave each one, and then I'll talk about it a little bit. Or is that how you want to do it, or save scores for the end?
No, we could do that. That's fine.
Okay. So I gave this one out of 5, because I know we're on your channels, out of 5, a 2.5 out of 5. And that might be harsh. I don't know, but my 5th favorite was Submarine, which was one of the 4Ks, one of the 2 4Ks we watched so far. I love the way these look too, like very, very classic and old.
I love it too. Yeah.
Yeah. Now I scored these simply on enjoyment factor. They're all well made. None of these movies, like Frank Capra knows how to direct a movie, right? Especially for these old times, there's a lot of very good camera work. Like, the camera is not just sort of point and shoot and then people going like that, like how silent films are. There's some of that, but there's also a lot of times where you could like read their lips and you could tell exactly what they're saying, which I liked. And this one, I was bored. I was bored. And I think the setup was cool. Like the 2 buddies in the military, and they got this, camaraderie. Then he meets the girl, and, that whole thing goes down, which I didn't like. I'm not really a fan of like infidelity stuff unless there's a huge payoff. And I don't feel like this movie had a huge payoff for it personally. Like, what's the payoff here? He's not going to go save. He's not going to go save.
Right, he's not going to save his friend.
Yeah. Not only the friend, all the other guys. Like, I'm gonna
the whole submarine.
Yeah. So I'm like, okay, I guess. And then the part where they're all down there in the submarine and it sinks, they're down there for so long. And like, to me, nothing was really going on that was propelling it other than being really sweaty and they're running out of oxygen. And I feel like the silent part of it hurt it. Because you can make this movie now and make it way more tense, way more. I think,
water cracking and
exactly. So I think the premise is fine, except like the whole cheating wife thing was like okay, but I was bored. Mostly the second half of the movie, I was pretty bored, and I ended up liking it the least. But like you said, I don't even know if this is like a well loved, or I have no idea what anyone thinks about this movie. I thought it was just so.
Yeah. Well, all right. Starting out controversial.
I don't know. Maybe it could be.
It could be. Yeah. No. All right. Well, I'll go ahead and go with my number 5. My number 5 was That Certain Thing.
Okay.
And I will say, what score did I give it? I gave it a 3.2, so a 3 out of 5 essentially.
Okay.
I think my favorite quote from the movie, and I tried finding these quotes that I thought were the most ridiculous. Mm-hmm. That one, they talked about cutting the ham thin. You cut it too thick. You got to cut it thinner. I don't know why. Yeah, I don't know why. That was just so funny to me.
Yeah.
Because it was just so absurd. But, or the other line, business is like a marriage. Man starts it, woman runs it.
Yep, I remember that one too.
But no, this one, I didn't really like the romance or anything like that. It just felt kind of random. And I don't know. I was bored with this one too. And I guess I'm wondering if I hadn't watched them all so close together, would I feel the same way? I don't know. Mm-hmm. It just felt kind of repetitive and boring. And, I wanted something to happen. And then randomly they start to make a sandwich business, and then the movie ends after that. It's like, what was the whole point?
They sell box lunches.
Yeah. Like that's the whole I guess that's the certain thing. I don't know.
Yeah, I was also confused of what that certain thing is. Was it like she got gumption or something? You know, like she has business acumen. I mean, not really, but she just knows how to make a good sandwich. Is that the certain thing? Like she cuts her ham thick? I don't know.
That's how they're successful. It was so strange. I did not like that one.
Fair enough.
Let's read some comments. Rob saying like Das Boot. Yeah. Except not
That's
as exciting.
Way more intense. Yeah, exactly. That one's like this is like the boring version of Das Boot.
He also says, I love ham. Well, then you'll love that certain thing. It's all about sandwiches.
They cut the ham thick.
Yep. But anyways, yeah. Let's move on then to our number 4. What's your number 4?
All right. Well, we're not far apart there because my number 4 is That Certain Thing.
Oh, yeah.
I gave it a 3 out of a 5 as well. I think even though we gave it the same score, I think I might have liked it a little more than you, but not much. I mean, it's still my number 4. This one has the best beginning. Like the first 5 minutes of this movie, I laughed out loud because the title cards were so funny. The one where they introduced the wife, and she's like, she told the husband where to go, and then he went there, and now she's a widow. And like that was very funny. Also, when they show the daughter for the first time, it's like she inherited his whole estate, which included her mother and these 2 kids that she's trying to bathe. I'm like, okay, that was pretty clever too. Other than that,
you don't have to bathe all these boys every day.
yeah, exactly. Which is what is some of these movies? There's a whole thing about baths. I don't know. There's like a recurring thing about baths. There's another one later where there's something like that. Anyway, I agree with pretty much everything else you said. This is a romance that's not overly romantic in any way. Like she's literally trying to find a millionaire to marry. Then she does, but she actually likes him in the span of like, I don't know, a couple hours. Like they go on one date and then she's ready to marry him. And then she likes him so much that when the dad's like, I'm going to cut you off, she's like, no, I'll still love you anyway. And then they start a sandwich business. So you're right. I mean, it's kind of weird. The saving grace is that it's like 64 minutes. It's short.
It's very short.
3 of these are, which was a plus, and it moves quick. I don't like the ending that much. It was, but I did laugh. So that's why I got the little bump over Submarine didn't make me laugh, and it was longer and more boring. So I gave this one the edge just ahead of it, but not great. Just okay. Yeah, just okay.
Okay. Got some more comments here. Is this the Frank Capra set? Yes, it is.
Yes, sir.
We're reviewing the first 5 films. Rob says, bathing boys, huh? LOL.
It's like she has like I think they're her brothers.
I think they are, yeah.
They're significantly younger than her, which is kind of weird. But then again, they never say how old she is. And this is the old time. She could have been 17 for all I know.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. But yeah, she's trying to give these little kids a bath, and they're like bad. They're like making a mess and splashing and all this kind of stuff. And
I do like where he throws a flower pot.
Oh yeah, yep. That was fun. And I like the part where he has the little cane. He's like trying to block the guy from like when they want to kiss. 1920s humor. It's very safe. It's very like, but some of it was kind of funny. I chuckled. I can't lie. I chuckled a few times.
Yeah, no, definitely. And you can definitely see too, even though it is almost 100 years old, it's still pretty sophisticated for sure.
I agree with that.
It's not super archaic or anything like that.
No.
All right. Well, I'll go to my number 4. That was So This Is Love.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So this one, what did I really not like about it? I thought the boxing was a little silly. It's like there's no way a ref would let him punch while he's looking away and all of that. It's like there's no way that would happen. Or I don't remember her name, but the female character, she decides to give the tough brute guy pickles and milk.
Hilda.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then the line was, "Please make the pickles and milk work." Like she's praying to God.
Yes.
And then he's like, "Oh, I don't feel good." He has a stomach ache, and that's how the scrawny guy wins. I don't know. I was like, this is ridiculous.
Yeah, that was silly. It was. Pickles and milk is also disgusting. So I don't know why
I was like,
guy,
why would you
eat it? Why would you even go with that? She's like, it's very healthful. That's what she says. Literally, it says healthful. And I'm like, that's a funny word. I don't think people say that anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I don't know too, like the brute guy, he wasn't that evil or anything like that. He was just kind of a jerk, but I don't know. They kind of
Spike Mullins.
Yes, Spike Mullins.
Yes, Spike
names.
Mullins.
And then the scrawny guy's like, "Oh, I've loved her for 2 years, but never told her." I'm like, "Well, go tell her. Like, what are you waiting for?"
If anything, he was a little creepier because he was like drawing pictures of her.
Yeah, he had paintings of her.
Yeah. He's just like staring at her out the window. Like, I love you. I see you making sandwiches every day.
Yeah.
A lot of sandwich making in
a lot of sandwiches.
Very interesting.
I don't know, and when she sees it for the first time, she's not freaked out or anything like that.
Right.
She's like, "Oh, this is amazing." No, I would have been freaked out. I'm like, this guy's a serial killer.
She's like, these pictures are me. He's like, yes, because I love you. She's just like, oh. I'd be like, what? If this was now, it would be that scene would go totally different, most likely.
100%.
Yeah. Up until like the 90s, that was still a cute thing to do. Now they'd be like, stay away. I don't like this. Yeah.
I don't know. I guess you call involuntary celibate. I don't know.
he was definitely a little bit weird.
Yeah. So anyway, that's why I didn't like that one, because it was like, I don't really like the main character, because there's several movies like that, even nowadays, that are fine, but I just found him to be too creepy and weird. It's like, no, I wouldn't like you either if I was a girl,
Yeah, fair enough.
So anyway, because like you think of like the Chaplin films, for example, where he's pining for a woman and she likes somebody else, like that is kind of cutesy, because he's kind of a doofus, right? He's always falling on his face and all that. But
I wonder if the running time, this one's even shorter than the other one.
Yeah, I think it's less than an hour.
It is, yeah. I wonder if that, because they don't really show him. What was his name? His name is Jerry Maguire, by the way.
That's right, Jerry Maguire.
That made me laugh. Jerry Maguire, they don't really show him like kind of pining for her at all. They introduce him and then they tell you he likes her.
Yeah.
And then they show that he has the paintings and stuff like that. And it's fine to have a movie where you have like a character who has a crush on somebody.
Yeah, it's like every movie ever. Yeah.
Right. But you need a little time to like show that person, even if it's like, like kind of staring from across, they work across the street. Yeah. Maybe he goes in and orders a sandwich and he's all nervous and anything. But this just goes straight from like, he shows up at the sandwich shop with the tickets for the ball and he's weird. And then she says yes, because he's going to give her the dress. And then she sees the paintings. She's not that weirded out. She doesn't love him right away, but she's like flattered. But it just goes like fast. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And maybe that kind of affected it.
Maybe so. And I don't even know if it's necessarily the runtime, because I've even seen like TV shows that did it more effectively.
Possible.
Yeah. So anyways, got some more comments here. Pastrami sandwiches are so awesome. Yes, they are.
Rob, you would love these movies if you love sandwiches.
Yes. There's a lot of sandwiches.
A ton. And they look gross. The sandwiches that she makes in that certain thing look good. The sandwiches in this, like that guy asked for a chicken sandwich and she puts a bunch of weird stuff on it. Some little circles. And I'm like, I don't even know what that is. That like a sausage or like a salami but it was really thick. It was weird. I didn't like the sandwiches in this. I was like, I wouldn't eat that.
Definitely Depression era food. Yep.
But the second movie had good looking sandwiches.
Yep. So on a scale of 1 to 10, how would you rate the sandwiches?
I would give the sandwiches, and so this is love, like a 2. I would not eat that. That was not a chicken. It barely had chicken on it. It had a bunch of other things.
Yeah.
And she put too much too. Like you have to
Almost
like
looked like
unhinge your
chicken
jaw to
salad.
bite that thing. Yeah, it was weird.
Yeah. All right. Let's move on to our number 3.
Well, I'm glad you brought that movie up. So we keep having one off. My number 3 was So This
yep.
Is Love. Now I agree with most of your negatives. Again, I gave this a 3 out of 5 as well. So same score as the That Certain Thing. The reason I like this one better though is I did think, because that one was kind of funny and this one was also kind of funny. And this one has a kind of premise where if you explain it to somebody, it just sounds really funny.
Mm-hmm.
And I think the boxing match made me laugh. Even the train, when he's like, "Will you train me?" and they're doing like, he's like punching the mannequin, and it looks all awkward, and like that cracked me up. The actual boxing match, you're right, it's so over the top. It's like, it's crazy, and then he's getting beat up, and he's asking his trainer if he's winning, and he's like, "Yeah, you're winning." He's like, "Well, why don't we quit? Like, what are we? If we're winning, let's get out of here."
Let's get out of here.
Yeah. And then the thing was like, then he starts getting a stomach ache, and she's in the thing praying, like, "Let his tummy hurt." And she's like, "Punch him in the tummy." Yeah.
She only said punch him in the tummy.
Yeah. And he literally just started going, it made me laugh. And the ending was kind of like, it just sort of, it's very abrupt. Like, they're in the ring. He's like, "You're my girl now." And she's like, "Sure." And then he after he wins, he like passes out. So I don't know. It made me laugh. These two movies got to be, as far as plot goes, the sort of breeziest, easiest plots out of these 5 movies. Like,
definitely,
they are so simple that story-wise, there's not a ton to latch onto. But from an entertainment perspective, they were pretty funny. And they're short and funny, which helps.
Yeah, short and sweet.
Makes it easy it's very easy to watch. But it's not like super rewarding. It's like,
no,
okay, that was that.
Not.
Thank you. And it was over. So that was my number 3. Which, you got the submarine movie really moving up the chart. So I must be like way off. I don't know. You still haven't said it. Yeah. But yeah. So yeah, I thought this one was okay. I had a good time.
Yeah. I think a better movie with a similar premise came out a couple years later, City Lights. I don't know if you've seen that.
That's a Chaplin movie too.
It is a Chaplin movie.
I've never seen it.
Okay. Well, what's nice about that one is it has the slapstick funny moments, like in this movie. There's even a boxing scene. Oh. But it also ties it in with the more heartfelt moments, because he falls in love with a blind girl and she has all these troubles and all that. And he's homeless, but pretends to be rich because he has a rich friend. I think that one I connected with more just because of the characters and whatnot.
Yeah.
This one just felt straight slapstick and no substance.
I would agree with that. I actually would 100% agree with that. Yep.
All right. Well, we were kind of already talking about it, but my number 3 is Submarine.
Oh, okay. Okay. So number 3, not too bad.
No, not much higher. I agree with a lot of things you said about it. I had the hardest time with this one paying attention to.
Yeah.
It reminded me a lot of Michael Bay's Pearl Harbor. I hate that movie.
Oh, okay. Fair. I like that then. Yeah, you're right. Because there's like a love triangle, kind of.
Pretty much.
Girl. Yeah.
But, I even read some reviews that some people put, was either Letterboxd or Criticalist, one of the two, where they were saying this is the literal definition of bros before hoes.
It is. Yeah. Hey, that's a good point. I didn't really think of that because I was kind of bored, but
yeah,
you're right. Even the way it ends.
Yeah.
Like, all right, big boy, where we're going? Like,
yeah, exactly.
Kicked her to the curb. They're best friends again.
Yeah. So I thought that was interesting. But I think the coolest part for me really was the set of the submarine and of the other visual effects in the movie. That's what really got me. And I couldn't help but think, though, is this just an advertisement for submarines? And they just threw a story in at the end.
Yeah. And you know what's funny too? Like for a movie called Submarine, the submarine doesn't show up till about 50 minutes into the movie. Like,
yeah, like
there's
close
no
to the
submarine
end.
for a long time. Yeah. And then it's like a little miniature. I do like. I laughed. I wasn't supposed to laugh. I laughed with the crash. You just tell it's like two little toys. Like yeah, two little toys crashing in the water, and then like the bubbles are they're so small. Like if you know how water works, so it's like this little toy submarine going down. They gotta do what they can. I'm not judging them for the filmmaking. It just was kind of funny.
Yeah, no, for sure. Ugh. But what else did I add? There's another funny quote in that. Oh, he was talking about his buddy's flowers. He's like, "Those morning glories, your eye. I bet those are beans." I was like, "What?"
It's so rad. Yeah. And the guy's like stroking the plant when they're walking in. I'm like, wow, what is that? Like,
what is he doing?
Yeah, is it flowers or beans? We're never gonna know.
Yeah, and they never resolved that. I wanted to know.
I will say I hated the girl in this movie.
Yeah.
Totally unlikable. You're right. And the thing is, like, I think where I'll give the movie credit, even though it was my least favorite, is they didn't make either of the two men overly unlikable.
Mm-hmm.
Like at least in Pearl Harbor, and I get your comp, and it actually makes sense. But at least in that one, like the girl's not horrible because she thought he was dead. So it's like,
yeah, no, it's not.
It's here she knew he was just gone for a week for work, and she's like, I'm gonna go dancing. I'm gonna have this whole fling for a week, and then I'm gonna act like this guy was coming on to me, and then they're not friends anymore. So she was horrible.
Yeah.
And the guy, again, I get him being upset and being like, oh, he was my friend. I don't want to necessarily go save him. But there was, like I said, there was like 15 other people on that thing. Right. And for him to be willing, that did make him look kind of bad. For him to just be willing to let them die down there because that one guy was there. He could have done something and been like, save them, and then like not help the friend, Yeah. I mean, it would even worse, but he comes off a little worse because at least the other guy apologized. He didn't know that was
right.
His wife,
right,
legitimately. So, I think at least they did a good job of making the two male leads, for the most part, likable, both of them.
Yep.
Except for that bit where he's like, is a little too much on her side. Like,
yeah, it's like, come on, man.
Yeah, she's definitely scandalous.
Yeah. Got some more comments here. Got John Mosman saying, nice to see a channel on older movies. Oh, appreciate that. Yeah. Talk about the classics here.
The classics and Submarine.
And Submarine.
I did like some of the underwater photography wasn't great because it was really blurry and like kind of dark. I'm assuming it was probably hard to do.
Yeah, especially when he was in the suit.
Yes.
It was very hard to see.
I did like the scene where he's on the boat and it's like coming up to the other boat. And it just looked like they just put a camera on the front of this boat. And he's like kind of leaning off on the front. I'm like, this looks great. I love when modern looking stuff is in these old movies. Mm-hmm. So I did like some of the boat photography in general, just not the underwater stuff.
Yeah, no, definitely. And reading a little bit into this, apparently this was Frank Capra's first attempt at making like an A picture. So higher production quality and whatnot. And you could tell even with the limitations, he did really, really well here.
Yeah, I agree. I will say that. It's
impressive.
Well made. Yeah, it's very well made. But yeah.
All right. Ready to move on to our number 2.
Uh-oh. All right. Yes. Okay. So my number 2 is, and obviously this will let you know what my number 1 is, but I don't know if everyone knows what the movies are. So what the 5 movies are. So that's okay. My number 2, I gave this a 3.5 out of 5. So 7 out of 10. I enjoyed this one. And that is going to be The Way of the Strong.
Oh, okay.
Way of the Strong. This is another one of the super silent ones, a real short, 58 minutes. But this is like a gangster movie and a love story mixed together.
Yeah.
And I liked both. Like, I liked both elements. I liked the guy Handsome. Even though he's a bad guy, I liked his storyline because he's ugly as heck.
Yeah, his ear, man.
His ear is like it looks like two ears put together, like sewn together in the middle. His nose is all crooked. He got a scar. He's not traditionally handsome. He's a bad guy. He robs. Well, I mean, no, he robs. I mean, he's robbing a bootlegger who's also doing crime, but still,
he's robbing from a criminal.
Yeah, he's robbing from a criminal, and then serving the alcohol in his little club. And he falls in love with this blind violin player who's like plays on the street in the middle of the night and saves her from a shooting. And I liked their dynamic, and I immediately started I knew kind of where it was going to go. That's one thing with these old movies. You kind of know where they're going before they get there.
Yeah.
And this one I had a feeling, and I was like, oh no. Is gonna, once he made the guy and he's like, touch his face. I'm like, no, this was a bad idea. Like, don't let her do it. And then she pretty much loves, she loves him, his personality, but she loves this other guy's face. So,
right.
And the gangster stuff was really good. Like the shootout, this has action in it. There's like,
it does.
There was like shootouts, a car chase, there's death. And all in 58 minutes, like a lot happens really fast. And I dug it. The only thing what knocked off for me is I don't like the ending that much. I felt bad for him. Like, I know he's bad, but he seemed like he could change. She could help, he was ready to marry her and and she acted like he was horrifying, like a monster. She touches his face. Like, she's like, yeah, I'm like, you love this guy when he was taking you to the park and stuff, to the what is that? Where'd they go? The amusement park or whatever. It's like Beauty and the Beast, except if Belle found out the Beast, like she never saw him and then she did, and then she actually ran away instead of still loving him. And so that was a little disappointing to me. I was like, oh, come on. And then, it kind of makes her look shallow because she never even talked to this other guy. She only knows from touching his face.
Right. She doesn't know anything about him.
Right. She doesn't even know his name. She doesn't even know he exists. Or maybe she does because he plays the piano, but she doesn't know his personality, I guess. So I felt bad for him. So I didn't love the ending. But other than that, I thought this movie was really good. I enjoyed it.
Yeah. Well, with me showing my number 2, I'll tell you what my number 1 is.
Okay, right on.
But my number 2 was The Younger Generation.
Oh, okay.
And I gave that a 4 out of 5. The funny quote that I really liked, I'll teach you not to give bread to that no good harmonica player.
That was funny. The brother, when they were little.
When they were little kids. I was like, what? Some of the dialogue, man, was killing.
He's like, where's the big one? The bread. It's the bread. Where's the big one?
But what I loved about this one is it reminded me a little. I don't know if you've seen The Jazz Singer or not.
Not yet.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, what's similar to this in The Jazz Singer is it's a mix of silent and sound, and they only really have the sound scenes in the most important ones. So it's most expensive, right?
Right.
And I kind of like that a little bit, where the kind of B plots and whatnot, those were the silent ones. But when the family's together, most important exposition, all that, that's where the sound came to play. Mm-hmm. I just loved the family dynamic. I loved all the characters, and the son is so shallow.
Oh my gosh. He was ticking me off absolutely throughout the whole thing.
Yeah. I mean, the fact that he basically said, what did I tell you, servants, about coming in through the front door, to his parents?
Right.
It's like, ooh, that made me not like him even more. And it's almost 100 years old. I'm going to spoil it.
Yeah. I feel like I've been kind of just talking about these movies because they're nearly 100. I think the spoiler warning kind of goes out the window.
I think it goes out after a year, but that's just me. But anyway, he doesn't get what he wants in the end. In the end, the family leaves, and he's kind of all by himself in his mansion.
Yeah.
He's like, yeah, you get to stay in the big town, but at what cost? You lost your family. You know, your dad died.
Yeah.
Your mom doesn't want to be with you. Your sister hates you. Like, ugh. It's kind of heartbreaking, but also it's like finally justice is served at the end. Like, I kind of
it's
like
a lesson, you know?
Yeah.
It's definitely a lesson of, I thought the ending was pretty sad too. I agree. I think it's not that one out of all of them is more, the most dramatic. It was the most dramatic out of the 5 movies.
Definitely.
For sure. Even though Way of the Strong is dramatic, but it has some humor and it has action. This one's like pretty much straight drama. There's not really a lot of other stuff in it.
Right.
Yeah.
And it definitely feels the most modern of them. Like, you could definitely tell, like, the sound errors here. Because after this is where all the dramatic films really started coming into play.
Yes, I agree.
And will fit in the rest of Frank Capra's filmography because, you know, if you've seen It's a Wonderful Life or Mr. Smith, those are pretty dramatic. I wouldn't say super intense, but they can be intense films too.
Yeah, emotionally, there's a lot going on in those movies. So, yeah, I mean, if this is kind of the turning point of where that sort of, because I'm sure I've never seen most of these movies. So anything I say, anyone who's watching or listening, this is a guess. I don't know. I'm going to assume there's still going to be some light fare. He seems to like comedy. He seems to like drama. Almost like old rom-coms. I'm sure there's going to be more. But I'm cool with it because I think he does well with kind of both of those.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
All right, ready for our number 1.
Well, obviously, your number 2 was my number 1. The younger gen. I loved this movie. I totally loved it. I was surprised. I didn't think I was going to love any of these movies. I'm not going to lie. I'm like, no, they're old, and I do enjoy classic films. Not as much as you, or maybe as much as you, but I'm not as knowledgeable. I haven't seen as many as you. But I love, I love old movies. But sometimes, like at their peak, I'll be like, it's like a 4 out of 5, right? Like it's just like a cap. I give this one a 4.5 out of a 5.
Oh wow, yeah.
I think I agree with everything you said as far as the family stuff, the parts where they talk. I didn't really know the reason, why it works that way, but now that you say that, it makes a lot of sense. When the family's together, like at the dinner table, the dialogue is great. Even the dialogue that you have to read, some of it's really great. Yeah, I think this one's very well written. I love the dad. And it's interesting because you have 2 different viewpoints of like what happiness looks like, right? You have the dad and the daughter who are like, I mean, as long as we got a roof and we're eating,
exactly, we got each other,
family, we want to laugh, it's great. And you have the mom and the son who are like, want the finer things. Like, this ain't good enough. Keep your stupid jokes to yourself. Don't give my bread to the harmonica player. And you see how she kind of latches to him and the daughter and the dad. And it's really heartbreaking by the end of it. To be honest, the brother's horrible, Morris, and then he changed his name to Maurice Fish.
Fish. How's that better than Goldfish?
Goldfish. Yeah. You should change it to Gold, maybe.
That's what I was thinking. I was like, why not Gold?
Weird choice. Anyway, like he's like pretty much embarrassed of where he comes from, who his family is. They're clearly immigrants. And these kids are like first generation here in America. And I think it's a great like immigrant story. It's a great family drama. I also like that they filmed in New York in the beginning. I love seeing like old New York on film. And the other summer, I watched this and Submarine today. So Submarine, it's on the water and in California, palm trees, and it has that, they're in San Diego, I think, and it has that California look.
That's where the naval base is.
Yeah, and then you got here, and it's the city, and it's old New York, and there's all the people, it's bustling, and there's tons of people everywhere, and I just love seeing it. So I don't know. I didn't think any of these movies would kind of hit like that for me, but this one did. I absolutely loved it. Easily my favorite of these 5. I was like a full point higher than 2 points higher on the 10 scale than the other movie. But yeah, I enjoyed it a lot. I thought it was great.
Nice. I think you'll like The Jazz Singer then, because it's a very, very similar. Al Jolson's character grows up very poor, and then he goes to Hollywood, changes his name, and becomes a famous singer and whatnot. So I think you should check it out too.
Yeah.
Very similar. All right. Well, my number 1 is Way of the Strong.
Nice.
I agree with a lot of things you said. And what I labeled this movie is like The Ugly Duckling meets Scarface meets Hunchback of Notre Dame.
That's a good. I see that. I totally see that. Yes.
Yeah. I don't know. I just loved that. And I was like, the irony's not lost on me. His name is Handsome.
Right.
I thought that was funny. It's very, very gangster, right? Like, this is tiny. He's like 6 feet tall.
Yeah. It's like Handsome Johnson. This is him. He's like ugly as heck. Yeah. I like that.
But I kind of knew he was going to die in the end. So I was like, oh, this is kind of similar to Hunchback. Because once he's in the car, they're driving away. It's like, oh, I don't know if you've seen the Lon Chaney one from the 20s, but I think it's similar to the book too. At the end, the Hunchback, he's on top of the cathedral. He's got, I think her name is Esmeralda, something like that.
Yeah, I think so.
And, he's saying sanctuary, sanctuary, right? And then the knights come in and kill him, and he doesn't get the girl.
Yeah.
I was like, this is going to be very similar. He's going to meet his utter demise.
But like in this one, it's kind of worse because she acts like she's horrified by him.
Uh-huh.
And that's what leads him, to like basically let them go. It's like, y'all go ahead, marry my girl that I loved, but she now thinks I'm fugly. Yeah. At least I think you can correct me because I've never seen that version of Hunchback. At least the woman like knows he's ugly and is nice to him. Is like kind.
100%. She is 100%.
As soon as she finds out this guy's ugly, she hates him. Which that's where I'm like, ugh. I didn't like that much. But I felt bad for him.
I did too. Yeah. And he's ugly, but like what I love is that Frank Capra made him kind of charming still. Like we still kind of like him, even though he's a gangster, even though he's kind of rough around the edges. But like you said, it's like Beauty and the Beast. We're kind of rooting for him. We're like, oh yes, he's gonna get the girl. Maybe he'll stop being a criminal.
Right.
But too good to be true.
Do it for the uglies. She can't see you. I was thinking when I was watching this, I was like, dude, if Ben Grimm, who's made out of rocks, can get a fine girlfriend, how can this guy not? How can, come on. Come on. He took her to the amusement park. He gave her a job. He paid her. He put her music in front of all those people.
Yeah, at his club.
Yeah. She's like, no, you're ugly. How shallow? I don't know. It was, but I mean, I don't know. I didn't even like the other guy, the piano player. Like, I didn't care.
No, he was pretty milquetoast. Like, there's nothing to him.
He's like, I love her too. You didn't even, like, what? When did y'all hang out? I don't know.
Yeah.
Weird.
Exactly. Oh, and I gave it a 4.2, so 4 out of 5 as well.
Okay.
Yeah.
I like that. That was, our 1 and 2, I like that they're just the opposite, but they're still the 1 and 2. But I do think they're the 2 best.
For sure.
Like pretty easily. They were my 2 favorite.
Absolutely. And having just watched all the Universal monster movies, this one in particular made me think of those.
Yeah.
It's like it's basically a monster movie.
Yeah. He's a big he's the Hunchback. She's blind. The other guy is I only think of like the Disney cartoon. The other one's like the night guy, the blonde one.
Oh, yeah.
The Kevin Kline did the voice for him.
Phoebus.
Yeah. He's Phoebus. You're not really, he's not a bad dude, but you're not really rooting for him. You're definitely rooting for the ugly guy. In that case, Hunchback, you have sympathy. Him, you don't initially, but by the end, like Once he goes and gets the book and gets the ring, and then I'm like, oh no, this is not gonna end well for him at all.
No.
Dang it, is what I said. Literally when I'm like, oh dang it, here we go. Bad news.
I thought it was going to end in a shootout, honestly. Kind of like Scarface and all that.
And him like dying in the shootout.
Yeah, like protecting her or something.
Yeah. See, I wouldn't have minded that. If he died before she got to reject him pretty much, I would not have minded it as much. I probably would have liked that better than her being like, ew, and then him just having to give her away because she thinks he's horrifying. That's the one little thing I would have changed. Like, I'm not a filmmaker, but as a film watcher, if just that was different, like you said, like they're shooting, he's like, he saves her, and then the piano guy's like, come on, we got to get out of here. He took a bullet for you. Then she can know, like, he died, she could still love him, but still go with this guy.
Right.
And then I would be happier. That's, I would be happier.
But, it would have been more poetic justice, but
right. And he'd still get his, his just desserts because he was a bad guy. And now he died, but before he died, he had to get his heart broken, which is like, wow, why? Why do we have to pile on to the ugly man? He's already ugly. He's already going to die. Why do we also have to have him be rejected?
Yeah.
Actually, now, the more we talk about it, I almost want to bump my score up to a 4 out of 5 because it's very good. There's a lot of layers to it. It'd still be my second, but it was very good.
Well, that's why I really liked it, is that it seemed to be the most heartfelt and deep of all of them. And, usually that doesn't matter too much to me, but in this case it did. I was like, dang, like this poor ugly man.
The poor ugly man. That's a good alternate title for this movie.
Yes.
Handsome Williams. I said it was Handsome Johnson. I was close. Handsome Williams is the name. And I love the name of the other guy. His name Tiger Louie. The bootlegger. Yes. And that lady who's like a spy. I will say, on top of the love story, the gangster stuff was really good. Like, I was into it. I was like, oh, she's infiltrating. She's like opening that little door within the door. I don't know why that has that there. I also don't know why it opens from the outside. Like, why would you have a private room where someone from the outside just open it? But whatever. And she's looking in and she's getting the information and going back to Tiger Louie. Great names in this movie.
Yeah. I loved that shootout at the house at the end.
Oh, yeah. And then when he comes in with the ice block, he's carrying, and then the Asian guy is like there. Little bit of racism there with the title, with the screams. Oh, yeah. When he says it's all right instead of all right, and literally written without the R. Yes. That, Rob, don't watch that. It did make me chuckle though. I won't lie.
Well, and he was in the ice box too, all drunk.
Yeah, so that was fun.
All right. Well, that's it, guys. Those were the first 5 movies. And if you want to follow along too, I'll read the next 5 titles. So the next ones are Flight and Ladies of Leisure, Rain or Shine, Dirigible. I think that's how you say it.
Yeah, I think dirigible. I think
dirigible.
It's like a blimp.
And The Miracle Woman. I'm excited for this one because I really like Barbara Stanwyck.
Okay, I don't think I'm familiar really with.
Have you? Let's see. Double Indemnity. If you've ever seen Double Indemnity.
Yes, I have seen that. Okay, then I like her too.
Yeah, she's in. In fact, I think she's in 3 or 4 of the movies that are coming up. So I'm very excited for that.
Okay, and then and these were, just to make sure, because I'm putting these things back in the order. It was So This Is Love, That Certain Thing, The Way of the Strong, Submarine, The Younger Generation.
Yep, that's it.
Okay, good. Because I want to keep them in the right order, where they go. I will say I do like. I wonder what made them decide which ones they were going to do in 4K and which ones they were going to do in Blu-ray. I don't know if it's maybe like you had mentioned the negatives, like maybe some of them were like not worth it to do, or if they're like if those are his more popular ones, maybe that they did in 4K.
Well, I'm kind of wondering because like It Happened One Night, it's very popular. Mr. Deeds Goes to Town, Lost Horizon, all of those are some of his more popular films. So that's kind of what I was thinking. But I don't know.
And I know for a fact they already had those because Mr. Smith Goes to Washington and It Happened One Night are in Columbia Classics. So they're probably like, oh, we already got these done.
That could definitely be it too.
Yeah. But like Dirigible is in 4K. And I'm like, I don't even know what this is. If it's anything like Submarine, but on a blimp, we'll see how I feel about it. I don't know.
Yeah. I'm kind of excited though. It's kind of got a cool poster there.
And these are all like regular length movies, except Rain or Shine's only 68 minutes. So, you know, I'm excited for all of these. These first 5 were, even though I didn't love Submarine and I was kind of bored, I can't say I hated any of them. I did not.
Yeah.
I did not hate any of them. They were interesting. At worst, they were just okay. And at best, I found them great. So if that's your range, like okay to great, that's pretty good. And it makes me excited because, you know, the newer they get, anytime you're going through a director's filmography, the further in you get, typically, not always, but typically, the better the director gets. So,
right.
You know, I'm very much interested to see how these next batch of movies is. Because I like the first ones.
Definitely. And I think what's kind of cool too, with you talking about that, it's like the last one, Mr. Smith Goes to Washington. That one was an Academy Award winner. I don't think, Gone with the Wind won Best Picture that year, but it was nominated for that. Yeah. So it's almost like his start from kind of smaller movies all the way until the Oscars.
And that movie was 1939, which is kind of crazy that there's 20 movies he made at Columbia from 1928, I think.
Yeah.
In 11 years, he made 20 movies just for this studio.
Yeah.
What a busy... I did see one of them, or the first one, So This Is Love. He shot it in 3 weeks. So that could be why. They didn't take very long to make.
Quick turnaround.
Yeah. But that's kind of... I mean, he's a busy dude.
Yeah. So, like you, I'm very excited for this, especially with ones like Platinum Blonde there. That's... not Mae West. I can't remember her name, but she's like the proto Marilyn Monroe. She's very, very famous back then.
I'll tell you who it is right now. It is...
Yeah, I guess I could pull mine out too.
Oh, Jean Harlow.
Yes, Jean Harlow.
Yes. Yep. I've never seen any of her movies. I know the name, but...
I've just seen one of her movies with James Cagney. Oh my goodness, what was that movie? Oh, I can't think of it. Dang it.
It's gonna bother you. You're gonna text me when you figure out what it is.
It is gonna bother me. Public Enemy. There it is.
There you go. Okay.
Or was that Mae West? I don't know. But I'm excited for that one because I think that one's even on HBO Max. Just a lot of these movies are ones I've been wanting to watch and just haven't either had or had the time for. So
I'll tell you what, just by the title. First of all, I know Mr. Deeds Goes to Town. Adam Sandler remade that, Mr. Deeds.
He did, Mr. Deeds.
So I'm interested to see that no matter what, because I know Mr. Deeds. I've seen it like 10 times. Not that I love it or anything. It just, I'd probably have seen every Adam Sandler movie at least 5 times, just because I grew up when a lot of movies were coming out and they played on TV a lot. So I've seen Mr. Deeds a lot. So I'm interested in that. And just by title, I don't even know what this is, but American Madness sounds like something cool. So
sounds awesome.
I'm interested. For those are the 2 that have my my interest most peaked, from a sense of not ever seeing them and knowing nothing, except one was remade and one has a cool title.
Yep. Heck yeah. Well, and I'm very, very excited to keep going with this, and hopefully we can have Evan on too, because he just got this set as well.
I would love to hear a third voice. That would really scramble up the rankings, I feel like, too.
I think so.
Yeah, I think that would be fun.
Although I was pretty surprised how different ours were, even if the last 2 were basically flip-flopped. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, yeah, it was Submarine. You had a much higher... It was me not liking that one as much that just threw it. Because if I did, we actually had them very similar. Like your 5 was my 4, your 4 was my 3,
Right.
your 2 was my 1. So like they were kind of, but Submarine was the outlier.
Nope. So we got to get you on here, Evan. We got to stir the pot a bit.
Stop going to work. Come and join us.
Yeah. Stop working. Come on this free thing. I'm not going to pay you.
No, not at all. But you'll have fun.
Yeah, exactly.
Remember, like the movie we just reviewed. Money's not everything. Sometimes you just need to tell some jokes and have some fun, like that.
That's right.
So,
That's right.
I'm going to tell these people some jokes.
Yep.
Just work.
All right. Well, before we go, why don't you promote your guys' channel?
Yes. Thank you for having me on, Harrison. Always a blast.
Absolutely.
Love talking with you.
On.
Yeah, love going on your podcast. Love this idea because it makes me watch the movies in a timely manner. I'm the type that buys and they sit usually for a long time.
Me too.
And that's just because life. I work. I do go out of my apartment. I don't just stay here all day, and I have to watch stuff for the podcast, and I have to watch it. So I love that you're doing this. Thanks for inviting me. You can find me on YouTube at Geeks and Flix. Me and Alex, my partner, we do we're currently only doing one live stream a month because we're doing franchise rankings, and they take a while to watch the movies, and then
absolutely,
so it's time consuming. Harrison is actually going to be on our next one. We're going to be doing the Harry Potter franchise. Just the ones with Harry Potter, no Fantastic Beast.
Thank heavens, I hate those movies.
Those are not Harry Potter movies. Those are something else. So we'll be doing the Harry Potter franchise. That'll be on February 23rd. Other than that, we do videos every week. I review movies at the movie theater, a new release every single Friday. I'm also doing my top 5 from every year I've been alive. So coming up will be 1999. That will be next Monday. Also, we have a podcast. Action Movie Guys is the podcast. Harrison's been on that with us before. I know he's scheduled for some future episodes. And that's where we just review action movies in a rapid fire manner, giving scores for different categories. We have like 420 something episodes.
It's
in the
insane,
books.
Guys. It's insane. I love it.
I mean, we do 2 a week every week. So we got a big back catalog. So check that out if you do enjoy action movies.
Heck yeah. And speak of the devil, here's your co-host, Alex. What's up,
He
everyone?
joined us just at the end. He missed the whole show. Thanks so much.
We got Scott saying, thanks for covering this, guys.
Yes. Scott, come back for the next one so you can keep hearing about these old movies. And you know what? I know we're kind of spoiling them. This is the last thing I'm going to say, Harrison, because I know we're trying to bring this thing home. I know we're kind of spoiling them. But these movies are so simple that I don't think we can spoil them. These are not mystery movies, and if they were, I would not give away the ending of a twist ending. These are very straightforward classic films. I feel like you kind of have to talk about plot elements, because if not, we're just going to be saying they were silent. There's not much to go off of if we don't. So don't let it be I don't want to watch it because you told. Not really. Give it a watch. There's a lot of humor in them that we didn't talk about. And they're worth your time just to see sort of classic films. So
absolutely.
I don't think talking about the plot points really will ruin any of them for you.
No, and kind of adding on to that too, a lot of these movies are in the public domain, so you'll find them on YouTube as well. So if you want to give it a try, see how it is, and then consider going in the deep dive, getting this collection here.
Look at that thing.
It's freaking awesome.
Yeah, it's beautiful. Look at that. I love the back with all the little posters.
Yeah, I love it. That's why it's on the cover of this video. I think it's awesome.
Mm-hmm. I agree.
But yeah, I absolutely agree. These will definitely be worth your time. Again, the longest is an hour 23 minutes.
Yeah.
Got a lazy afternoon, pop it on. It's on YouTube, man.
I mean, I watched the 3 silent ones, the first 3 in one day in 3 hours.
That's what I did yesterday.
I can't think of any other movies that I could get through 3 entire movies in 3 hours. Usually it's At best 2 if they're both 90 minutes. So
Right.
I was like, this was easy. 2 days, I watched all 5, no problem. It was great.
I will say that will get harder as we go along.
Yeah, one of these was 100 minutes. I saw it. And I'm like, okay, now I'm gonna have to start treating these like normal. This one's 115, so I'm gonna have to start like doing, one at a time, maybe. But that's okay. We got plenty of time till the next one.
Yeah, exactly. And my goal with this is to do it once a month. That way we have time to watch them all, but then also too to kind of get you guys time as well to check them out ahead of time.
Yep.
All right, got a couple more comments here. Scott says, "I'll be back. Just remind me. I'll be sober for it."
Right on.
All right. Well, duly noted. And Rob says, "Sup." All right. Well, again, thanks again for coming on, Nate. This was definitely a blast. I'm very excited to continue on this cinematic journey with you through the filmography of Frank Capra.
It's great. Is it going to move into my top directors? I don't know. We'll see by the end of it.
Yeah. Well, by the end of it, you'll see almost half of his movies. So
oh, look at that. That's pretty good. I will be like halfway done with the filmography to decide if I want to watch the other half.
Nope.
I mean, I've seen It's a Wonderful Life. That's Frank Capra, right?
Yeah.
Okay. I've seen 2 of his movies. I've only seen 1 in this set. So there you go.
Now
I have 7. So I'm doing pretty good.
Nope. See, Alex says he sounds like a pizza owner. Frank Capra.
Capra's Pizza.
Yeah.
Or Frank's Pizzeria.
Yeah, exactly. Or an Italian restaurant owner. Yeah.
I agree. Yeah.
Absolutely. Well, he definitely baked some great films here.
Hey, I see what you did there. Very good.
All right. Well,
not enough pizza in these movies either. There's too much sandwiches.
Yeah, too many sandwiches.
Not enough pizza.
Yeah. I don't even know if there is pizza in any of these movies. I guess we'll keep an eye out for that.
I'm going to find out.
All right. Well, thank you all so much for coming on today. And like I said, the next one will hopefully be sometime in March. I'm aiming for the 7th, but it's all dependent on our very busy schedules. And hopefully we'll have Evan on next time. That'd be awesome.
Yeah.
And with that, this has been Really Old Movies. I'm your host, Erson Scullin. It's my co-host, Nate. Take care, everyone.